Welcome back. Donald Trump's strength in the polls hasn't wavered after any of his indictments or his absence from the first debate. However, there are Republicans speaking out about whether he's actually eligible to run legally. Presidential candidate Asa Hutchinson brought that up at the debate, and he and some conservative scholars think Trump is disqualified because of Section 3 from the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which basically says no person shall hold any office after taking an oath to support the Constitution, after engaging in insurrection or rebellion against the Constitution, or aid or comfort its enemies. Now, the argument can be made that criminal cases against Donald Trump accuse him of this violation. So let's bring back Phyllis Thiede and Jeff Kaufman. New Hampshire's Attorney General is looking into whether he's eligible to be on the ballot there. There's also a lawsuit in Florida challenging his qualifications. So is it better for the Republican Party politically if he is disqualified to move on to a different candidate who might fare better in the general election? Jeff?
Well, I think that would be a very, very political for me to wish for something just because it would be better politically, and I'm not certain that it would. Look, Donald Trump has risen in the polls at the same time because people see a lot of these actions, a lot of these calls as what they are, and that is politics. This is a coalition of liberals and never Trump Republicans. The characters are exactly the same. It's the same groups that have pushed for this before. The 14th Amendment was an outgrowth of trying to prevent Confederates from taking office in the South. I think that we do have an ultimate arbiter here. We can argue back and forth all we want, see the politics, but the bottom line is this ultimately could go to the Supreme Court. And here's what I would bet. When it goes to the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court rules that he can't, Democrats and these Democrats are going to herald the Supreme Court as wonderful. If they disagree, then we're going to have a crisis in the Supreme Court. This is politics. People get it. That's why Donald Trump's still up in the polls.
And we certainly hear that regarding any Supreme Court decision. Phyllis, what about it? Would it be better for the Republican Party, though, if he is disqualified so they can have maybe a fresher face on the ballot for themselves?
Here's what I really think that needs to happen. The process that's happening now is that he's being tried with the 4 indictments against him. And what I'd like to see is to see if he gets indicted on one of those, one of those.
Convicted, you mean?
Right. And the reason why I say that is because I think right now, yes, looking at the 14th Amendment, it allows us to do what it says, but at this point, he has not been indicted on anything. Now, that sounds like a supportive statement, but that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is that we need to let the process work. If he is definitely indicted, then we obviously have this 14th Amendment to help us out. But at this point, I think it's not something that's going to get done until we see what happens with all these indictments. And so I think that's the best way to take a look at this and look at it and use some common sense when we're talking about this.
Phyllis Thiede, Jeff Kaufman, thank you both for the conversation. Both of you be safe. That does, in fact, bring us to our question of the week. What do you think about the legal challenges to disqualify Donald Trump from being on primary ballots based on the 14th Amendment to the Constitution? Let us know your opinion about this subject. There are a couple of different ways you can do it. First, you can send your answer by email to fortherecord@whbf.com, or you can respond to this post on Facebook at the Local 4 News WHBF TV page or on my page.